Hey, welcome everybody. Rocky Hartpence here for eSPEED Racing. Well, it's the big day. Stock Car Series finale. This should be a good one. Here at virtual Kansas Speedway for tonight's running race 8 of the Stock Car Series. We are focusing on 3 drivers that will be starting from the rear of the field. They are the ones in contention for the points championship right now. That man in the 31 car, that is Nate Jurgensen. He is our points leader right now with the 6-point lead. This will be his first time, always in competition or in competing for it, but this is the first time he's led with this big of a lead late. Lost it on the last race, the last couple of seasons, so we'll see how he does here tonight. He's going to be starting shotgun on the field. Also out there, we'll try to find our other competitors in the points championship. Right there, number 2 in points, the 99 car, Chris Carroll. 6 points back. Hopefully he doesn't make moves like that during the race, because it'll be a short night and a Nate Jurgensen victory if that's the case. But that 99 car is going to do what he can to get that points lead. And then right there in the 94 car, that's Agnell Phillips setting 8 points back. Coming in very hot, has won a couple short track races, also picked up his first Stock Car Series win recently. So that man is going to do what he can to get that 94 car out in front and try to win this championship. Here alongside me tonight, we're bringing in a new race commentator. That man is North Carolina native, eSPEED Racing veteran, Lawrence Shaugnessy. How are you doing, Lawrence?
I'm doing well, Rocky. Pleasure to join you out here in the booth this fine evening out here at the virtual Kansas Speedway.
Oh, you're pulling a Neil Bonnet by stepping out of the race car and jumping into the booth. What are your thoughts here tonight?
You know, I'm really interested in our top 3 championship battle, obviously. I want to know who's going to play spoiler. I want to know who's going to make a mistake as these guys walk through the field and move their way towards the front. We know that Chris, Nate, and Agnell all have an incredible amount of speed, especially in this car. I just want to see who's going to get in their way and who's going to try to be out in front. You know, we see the real guys every time there's a championship race. It's the top 4 in points out there in front. I want to see if a guy like Aaron Rodgers or a guy like James Ward or even Nick Parise can get out there and play spoiler. Get up there and run towards the front and get between these guys. Maybe get between Chris and Nate and make the difference in our championship.
Yeah, exactly. And I harken back to, what was it, race 4 or 5 when we were at Legacy, Kentucky. Our points leader, Nathan Jurgensen, started in the rear of the field and had all kinds of problems. Jumped the start very early on and then later was involved in a wreck that ended his night. That was his drop week, the biggest wreck or lowest point scoring total of the season. We are now back at a 1.5 mile oval. Are there any jitters or anything like that, do you think, for Nathan Jurgensen? How do you think he'll take the pressure?
I know Nate to be a pretty calm, cool, and collected kind of guy. You know, the California kid. He's always out there, and he's got the mindset he's going to win races. That being said, at the same time, he's got to be thinking about it. It's got to be in the back of his head. What if I don't make it past lap 20? What if my car winds up tore up? You know, it's something all these race car drivers are going to be thinking about tonight as they try to navigate this very tough mile and a half. It's not your average everyday mile and a half. It's the line's a little bit funky. This car combo, I've driven it some. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit tough to drive. The setup we got tonight should produce some great racing, but these guys are going to have to work for it.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to take a look at the leaderboard right now in practice. Your points leader, Nathan Jurgensen, sets first with a 30.94, and just off him is second place in points, Chris Carroll. So already the top 2 showing best speed up there right now. Agnell Phillips a little bit behind, about 2 tenths off the pace. We'll have to see how that affects him, if that's going to hurt his chances later on. He will be starting slightly in front of the 2, but they all have the work cut out for him to get around this pack and get out in front.
Yeah, for sure. Name I'm very interested to see up here on the speed charts. Not a guy we do a lot of talking about in this series. Been quietly successful here. Runs mid-pack pretty much every week. Justin Davidson putting down a hot lap of a 31.111. You know, less than 2 tenths off of Big Nate and Chris.
Yeah,
Another guy we're talking about, Michael Seal. He's been showing some speed here tonight too.
Yeah, Mike Seal, our race winner at USA earlier this year, picked up the short track win. And going back to Justin Davidson, yeah, seems to have been snake bit this season. Had an early incident last time we were at a 1.5 mile oval, spun it on the pace lap coming to the green, put it through the infield. So we'll have to see. He's definitely sporty here tonight, currently setting 4th fastest on the grid.
Yeah, for sure. I'm interested to see if he can maintain that pace in a race. Obviously, you're throwing down a hot lap. That lap could have been very early on in the practice when the track was cleaner. I want to see what he does in a pack. The other guy I got my eye on, Alex Harris. You know, he's been good at these 1.5 miles. He's always a factor towards the middle of the pack. I don't know if he's going to challenge for a win tonight, but he's showing a little bit of pace running about P6, P7 in practice here. So you never know. That 74 might be my one to watch, my dark horse contender, as you say, if we have problems with the top 3 in points running through the field.
Yeah, exactly. We'll go through our entry list real quick. See how many cars. We do have some late arrivals coming in. As I see Brand Sheffield and Alan Wilson making an appearance on the grid here, about a minute to qualifying. So they're going to come in pretty cold here with this challenging Xfinity car. But we do have Brian Traeger in the 6th. Lawrence is going to be broadcasting, so we'll ignore him as per usual. Ed Kane in the 10, Justin Davidson in the 14, Brian Zimmy Zimmerman in the 28, Nathan Jurgensen in the 31, Bradley Yo 35, Larry Bell 43, Aaron Rodgers, who has been up and down this season, really started out strong, was one of our top 3, sitting in the 51 car. He'll be one to watch as well. I'll actually take him as the eSpeed Sport pick it to click it winner of the race. We'll go with him as my pick. We'll have to see how that goes, and we'll get Lawrence's here shortly. Mike Seal in the 54, Dan Ursel in the 64, Nick Bree 66, Steve Olive 69, Alex Harris in the 74, Alan Wilson we just spoke about. Your teammate, how do you think Alan's going to fare here tonight?
I have it on good authority that A, he's going to be driving mad tonight because his kids have delayed his arrival to the virtual Kansas Motor Speedway, and B, that he was putting down some fast times in practice last night. I know he got about a good 45 minutes to an hour of driving the car. He said he liked the setup, kind of found the line, and he stands to fare pretty well because I'm not out there to wreck him like I do just about every other week.
Yeah, no, yeah, that is true. As teammates, you guys have connected a few many times, so
a few too many times.
It's all good.
So we always find ourselves around each other out there on the track, and every time I get behind them, I preach to myself, I will not wreck my teammate. I will not wreck my teammate.
Yeah, is that your version of the John Theodore pledge?
Yes, it is the Lawrence Shaugnessy pledge. Shout out JT. I know he's a friend of the league. But yes, that is the Lawrence Shaugnessy pledge.
Okay.
I will not go out there and wreck my team.
Fair enough. Another one down at the bottom of the list. We'll have the advantage of being able to start up front. Blake Bottoms, who was last week's winner at the Roval. We'll have to see. He has been one with the fastest pace. Maybe not the best luck here as he currently sets down. He has missed a couple races, sets down in the points, which we'll actually take a look at now. And run through that. As you can see, Nathan Jurgensen top of the leaderboard with an 6-point lead with 254 points over Chris Carroll. So he'll have to finish. Chris Carroll will have to finish at least 7 spots ahead of Nathan Jurgensen to even have a shot at winning this race. If there is a tie, it goes to the highest finisher in the most recent race. And we got our points leader in the chat booing himself at this point. We'll have to self-hating points leader right now. We also like to welcome Tron. Anybody else out there watching, make sure to drop in the chat and say hi. A few more to take a look at. These top 3 aren't only just fighting for a championship, but they're also fighting for that championship purse, which I believe is right around $126 for first, $53 for second, and $31 for third. So these 3 guys also fighting for a little bit of scratch, not only the prestige, but also some money in their pocket. Looking down the list, like we talked about earlier, Aaron Rodgers currently setting 6th, just outside of the top 5. And also Blake Bottoms is 20th, but as you can see, he does have one win this season, so it'll be very interesting. We'll take a look at the current grid standings. It looks like Blake Bottoms right now fastest on the grid with a 30.8. Looking at that, who stands out to you at the top of that speed chart?
I said it when we ran through practice. I'm going to say it again. You got Justin Davidson dropping to 30.991. I mean, he's 1100s off pole right now. We knew Blake and Michael were going to be fast. Those guys show up every week that they can. Obviously, Blake hasn't been around as much, but you just said it. He's coming off a win. He's hot. He's got the momentum. He's always had speed, no matter where we go. If he's there, he's going to be a front runner. Mike Seal, same deal. I think we're a little bit robbed because guys like Nate and Chris and Agnell know they're going to be starting in the back. And I don't feel like pit road position matters too much here tonight. It's pretty easy pit road, and you're going to have some good
we
battles
lost
off the track, but I don't think where your pit box is going to matter. So we're not going to be able to see. We're not going to be able to see where a guy like Nate or Chris or Agnell is going to qualify because they're going to save their real pace for the race, which will be an exciting storyline in and of itself. But I would have loved to have seen a low 8 or a high 7 up on the board from that 99, the 31, or my guess would have been the 94. I think Agnell's got the pace tonight.
All right. Well, as we look at the board, only 10 cars have put up qualifying laps, and we're getting to about a minute 15 left in qualifying. So at this point, do you see any additionals or late chargers up the board?
Looking at it, if I had to guess, my teammate's going to go ahead and take his medicine and not qualify, if I know him at all, which I think I do. So probably not. Brian P. Traeger surprisingly putting up a lap up there in P7. That was a pretty decent run right there for him. Bit of a back marker here, but he's shown flashes. He's gotten much better as the season's gone on. He's a new guy around here. We like having him around. Ed Kane, sponsored by Ed Kane's Mobile Home Repair, this evening on the car. He's down there in 11th, a little bit surprising. He's fast here at these mile and a half, so we'll see how he pans out. And the biggest shock to me of all is truly one Brian Zimmerman back there bringing up the rear of our qualifiers. I definitely thought he'd have more pace, and I'm sure he'll show some once the race gets on and we get in the pack, because he's much more of a racecraft and good pace on the long run kind of guy, as opposed to a hot lapper. Yeah.
Exactly. Like to point out Ed Kane picking up the season finale win in the Contender Series. While our grid has finished qualifying, we are going to jump in with them momentarily and do the rundown of where we are currently setting with our drivers. Let them get on pit road here. All right, like to welcome Robbie Hartpence and Zachary Marguson in the chat. Good seeing you guys. Better not be paying Lawrence. No, Lawrence owes me a favor. That's what this is. All right, let's get started. So on the pole, the 00, that is Blake Bottoms. Starting second, the 54, that is Mike Seal. In row number 2, the number 14, that is Justin Davidson, followed by on the outside, the 51 of Aaron Rodgers. In row 3, that is the 66 of Nick Brees. We are waiting for the other entries to come in. We're going to go ahead and drop our top 3 to the back. As we're still waiting for people to grid up.
Looks like row 3 is going to be completed by Steve Olaf on the outside, starting P6. P7, a guy I talked about during the qualifying run, Mr. Brian Traeger, going to be starting on the inside of row 4, flanked on his outside by Alex Harris and that 74 machine. Watch out for him to be fast tonight. Row 5.
Row 5, that is Bradley Yo in the 35. And then on his outside, the 43 of Larry Bell. In row 6, the 10 car, Ed Kane, and the 64 of Dan Ursel. In row 7, that is the 28 car of Brian Zimmerman. On his outside is Nate Jurgensen, who will be dropping in the back, as well as our competitors in row 8, Agnell Phillip, Chris Carroll. They also drop in the back. In row 9, that is the 96 of Brandon Sheffield, and then the 87 of Brad Ward. And further towards the back, we have Alan Wilson, the 79, Jason Jackson in the 86, and James Ward in the 81. One to point out, our 6th place qualifier, or 8th place qualifier, that is Alex Harris. He is starting from the pits.
Oh, I wonder what's going on there. I wonder if he thought he had hot lap pace, but isn't quite comfortable in the pack, or maybe he's banking on a caution and doesn't want to be in it. We'll see how that one plays out.
When I spoke with him earlier, it was he wanted to stay out of the way of the points leaders. So he didn't want to be the
I
match.
can respect that too. I can respect that too. That's why I'm up here in the booth next to you, Rocky, and not out there on the track, because I would be in the way. There's no doubt about that.
There you go. Well, the pace car lights are off. We're getting ready to start this thing with Blake Bottoms on the pole. The pace car is off. Blake Bottoms controls the start, and they are going. A little bit of a slow start. Oh, there we go. Green flag now out. Blake Bottoms waiting. And they
what a push on the outside for Mike Seal there.
Yeah, he's gonna bunch them up quite a bit. Mike Seal on the outside, but Blake Bottoms able to really run the bottom through 1 and 2.
Looks like they're about side by side all the way through 3 rows. Still got Blake Bottoms out front. On the high line, Mike Seal looking low. This should be interesting. We're going to see how that high line versus that low line develops over the course of the run. Mike got a little bit of a run on his inside, crossing the start-finish line for the very first time.
Yeah, one thing about Kansas, with that progressive banking, we are going to have a bit of multi-groove racing. So it'll be interesting as these guys switch it up throughout the run, if they end up on the top line or stick to the bottom. Right now, we'll drop back to our best battle, and that's in 6th place between Steve Olive and Nick Parise. Nick Parise in the 66, currently running that low line.
Yeah, he's hanging on real good to this back of that 69 car. We'll see what kind of run Nick gets down the backstretch. The top line tends to produce a little bit better run on the straightaways, but obviously the shorter way around the corner is going to bring Nick to pretty much even. Looks like he might even get by the 69 of Steve Olive going through 1 and 2.
Yeah, close call going through the tri-oval just momentarily. The 35 of Bradley Yo, I don't think realized he had 2 cars to the outside, inside, ends up collecting Brian Traeger, and 1 car to point out that's already made his way up the field. That is the number 94 of Agnell Phillip, who currently finds himself actually moving into the top 10.
Yeah, he is. He has just cracked the top 10. He's working on Bradley Yo coming into 1 and 2. Looks like he's going to dispatch Bradley pretty quickly here. Brad might get a run off the corner, but I have no doubts that Agnell will keep charging forward as he gets to the quarter panel of Nick Parise, headed down the American Ethanol back straightaway into turn 3.
Agnell Phillip knows he has to get out in front of Chris Carroll and Nathan Jurgensen, beat him by at least 8 positions to even have a shot at this. We'll go up front. As we're 2 wide for 3rd place, Aaron Rodgers was able to get around the 54 of Mike Seal, and right now Seal is getting a challenge on the outside by the 14, Justin Davidson.
You know, if that 51 car can stay out of trouble, he's going to be a challenger tonight. Don't sleep on Aaron tonight. And again, we talked about him in practice, and I'm not shocked to see him running P3 right now. Mr. Justin Davidson getting a challenge from Mike Seal after he makes that pass, but it looks like he's going to hold that position through 3 and 4. And the big story right now, definitely Nate Jurgensen and Chris Carroll staying towards the back as Agnell Phillip charges. Is Agnell going to be burning his stuff up, or are Nate and Chris just not that fast?
Well, we'll fall back with them. It looks like they're taking their time trying to navigate this field. Another car to point out, the 35 of Bradley Yo, falling very quickly, finds himself down 7 positions from the start. But yes, Chris Carroll and Nathan Jurgensen looking very methodical as they move up through the field. They have the most to lose if anything were to happen or a caution were to catch them in a bad spot.
Yeah, you mentioned Bradley Yo. I'm taking a close look at that race car as he goes down the front straightaway right now. It looks like he's got a little bit of right front damage. I wonder if that's affecting his race right now. I know he's been running the high line the whole time. I wonder if he caught the wall off a corner or something as he works on my teammate, my buddy Alan Wilson, going down the back stretch here.
Well, we'll jump up to the front of the field as the 14 of Justin Davidson has caught the 51 of Aaron Rodgers, looking to challenge at this point. At one point was side by side, but things have evened out now.
Yeah, it looks like the battle for the lead has kind of become stagnant as Blake Bottoms is running away on the field right now. We'll see how those tires hold up over the long run. Back to P2 here with Aaron and Justin. Justin's hanging on, man. He's showing a lot of pace tonight. Again, another car that if he stays clean, he's going to be in the fight for this thing.
Yeah.
Don't look now, but Agnell Phillip has broke into the top 5 entering 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah, exactly. Also right there in the hunt is Mike Seal, currently 7th. As we have a car spinning through the tri-oval. That looked like the 96 of Brandon Sheffield. Doesn't appear that it's going to bring out a caution, but we'll go ahead and take a look at it. Sheffield on the outside. Looks to have caught the outside wall and just ended up through the infield. But he's able to right the ship without a caution coming out.
Really good job by Brandon there to drive that thing down to the infield where he wasn't going to be a danger to anybody, especially those points leaders that are trying to pass him. Significant damage on the right front of that number 96 Cobra machine. We'll see how he fares the rest of the race.
Another one through the infield, having troubles catching that same spot as Brandon Sheffield. Your teammate Alan Wilson, he's able to get it the ship righted, but again, having some difficulties early on with this car and setup combination.
Yep, more right front damage. That brings 3 cars that I've seen with pretty significant right front damage. And we know how this iRacing model makes these cars drive like doo-doo when they have right front damage. It will get tight on Alan Wilson, Bradley Yo, and Brandon Sheffield as we go along this run.
We'll go back to our points leader, Nathan Jurgensen, currently fighting for the 11th position with Brian Traeger. Again, methodical moving up through the field. Chris Carroll also hot on his tracks. We'll see how this develops as the race goes on, as we are about to complete lap 11.
Yeah, if I know anything about Nate and Chris, nothing they do is uncalculated. I believe this move was to save some tire, trying to work through this field while their A51 teammate Agnell Phillip burns his stuff up going through. We'll see how this plays out over the course of the run. But I definitely see Nate with a little bit more pace than Chris right now. A little surprising that 99 car is usually always in the conversation. And these guys aren't just going to fall to the wayside and let them go. They're going to have to fight their way through this field. We race hard all the way through. It doesn't matter if you're the points leader or the last guy in points. We'll race you. Clean but hard. So we'll see how this plays out.
Yeah, exactly. Currently right now, as we are on lap 13, Blake Bottoms is in the lead by 2.3 seconds, followed by Aaron Rodgers, Justin Davidson. Third place in points, Agnell Phillip, Mike Seal, Nick Baris, Brad Ward, Steve Olive, Ed Kane, and sneaking into the top 10, your points leader, Nathan Jurgensen.
Yeah, I'm looking at lap times for Agnell right now in the race. He looks like he's not fallen off too much. He just ran his first 32.0. So he's fallen off about half a second from his fastest lap, about 7/10. But he's still charging hard up towards the front. He's gone from 20-something to 4th here. Definitely running down Justin Davidson, turning some fast laps right now. As it looked like Nick Baris might have gotten in the wall behind him.
Nick Baris fighting with the 54 car of Mike Seal for that 5th position. Looks like he is still got that thing righted, but yeah, he's precariously close on running that top lane to that outside wall.
Something interesting I'm noticing watching Agnell turn a couple laps here, focusing on that 94 car. He's running the bottom through 3 and 4. Most of these guys have found themselves on the quote-unquote Larson line, trying to find that cushion, see where they can really rip that top lane. Agnell has found himself more comfortable down in the bottom on 3 and 4. I wonder if he knows something a little bit that these other guys don't, and that's why he's been able to make up so much ground so quickly.
Big bobble coming out at 2 by the 66 car. That's going to open the door for the 54 of Mike Seal. 66 may have just grazed the wall on the outside. He's definitely having some difficulty, but he's still holding on tough to that 5th position.
Looking back through the field here after watching the 66 right himself and keep going forward. Chris Carroll has just gotten past Ed Kane for position number 10, as both Nate and Chris have cracked the top 10, but Nate has fallen stagnant. He got past the 69 of Steve Olaf and hasn't been able to make a whole bunch of ground up in these last few laps. I'm wondering if his stuff is burned up despite the fact that he tried to save it. Chris is also running that low line on the bottom. Something of note, it seems like a couple of these A51 guys have got the bottom figured out as Chris slides up in front of Steve Olaf for P number 9.
Well, as it stands right now, Nathan Jurgensen, where he sets, would clinch the championship, but we got a whole lot of racing left as we're only on lap 17. Mike Seal again looking under the 66 of Nick Barris.
Looks like Mike can't do anything on that bottom line. Looks like Nick has got that top side figured out and is getting good runs off the corner. Mike will draw even up to his door. But as soon as they come off the corner, Nick is like a rocket ship off of exit, and it almost looks like Mike is having to lift to stay out of his left rear quarter, as Agnell Phillip has passed Justin Davidson for P3 here. P3 is Agnell Phillip going off into turn 1.
That is correct. Yes, Agnell Phillip, third place in points. Right now, our highest running of our championship contenders, doing what he can, already moved up 12 spots since the beginning of this race, is starting to close in now on his teammate Aaron Rodgers in the 51 car.
Yeah, I believe that Aaron will definitely give him something to fight for here. I'm hearing over the radio that Mike is getting pretty close to old Nick coming out of the corners, like I just mentioned. But Agnell Phillip still runs P3. He is your top of your championship contenders right now. But Blake Bottoms out there stinking up the show. Got about a almost 3-second lead on Aaron Rodgers as we come off on 20.
Yeah, Blake Bottoms has remained tough out front, has left the field at this point. Now, we will have, if this continues to go green, we'll likely see our leaders come down pit road. There could be some strategy as far as tires on if they make it a one-stop or two-stop. I know on fuel, this is a one-stop race, but who knows? Somebody might gamble, especially with how loose this car is and how hard it is on the right rear.
Oh, for sure. You can go about 60 to 65 laps in these Xfinity cars around the virtual Kansas Motor Speedway, but I don't know if you want to on your set of tires. As hard as these guys are driving, they're probably going to be looking more close to splitting the race in half. A couple of good 50-lap runs on tires, see what they can get out of it.
As we got a battle for second, Agnell Phillip has caught the 51 of Aaron Rodgers, tries to sneak on the low line around his teammate. We'll see how they do as they exit to Agnell Bobbles. And we got a
we
yellow.
have a yellow on the speedway. Yellow on the speedway.
Oh,
let's see if we can find it.
Big wreck as our teammates, Brandon Sheffield and Alex Harris connected. Those were two cars that were further back in the pack. We'll take a look and see what happened. Looks like coming into 3, Alex Harris on the top lane ends up just getting loose and losing it. And that ends up collecting the 96 of Brandon Sheffield, who had difficulties earlier.
That's the danger of running that high side. Very, very limited margin for error. Watching this, it looks like Alex just gets a little bit loose coming off there and can't keep the car straight. And Sheffield just has nowhere to go as Alex Harris spins back up the track. And we have our first caution of the event. It's interesting. What does this do to pit strategy? How are these guys going to play this now? We are still not good on fuel. So we have definitely turned this into a two-stop race. It's just a question of how long are these guys going to go? Are they going to split this next run in half? Are we going to get another yellow? It would be very interesting to see how the pit strategy of this one plays out.
Exactly. And this also gives our field an opportunity and another shot at the 0-0 of Blake Bottoms as everybody comes down. Right now, our running order, Blake Bottoms first, Aaron Rodgers second, Agnell Phillip third, Justin Davidson fourth, Mike Seal fifth. Blake Bottoms has that comfort of that number 1 pit stall, so it could be an easy in and out for him. We'll have to see the race between the rest of our competitors. As Agnell Phillip guns it off, we'll see if he picks up any spots.
Agnell with a great stop there. Looks like his teammate Aaron Rodgers is going to beat him off pit road, but Blake Bottoms maintains the dominance that he has shown so far this evening. If anybody didn't want to see that yellow flag fly out on the speedway, it was definitely that 0-0 car. Yeah, there's nothing worse than having a good 3-second lead in a fixed setup race and having a yellow come out as you're starting to build and drive away from everybody else.
Exactly. One note to point out, Chris Carroll was able to leapfrog his teammate and points leader, Nathan Jurgensen. So Chris Carroll a little bit better on and off pit road than the 31. We'll have to see how that works out here on this restart. But currently right now, Justin Davidson is completely surrounded by the A51 Wolfpack.
There is nothing worse than that. I felt that in our RTP prep race on Sunday night. Everywhere I looked, there was an A51 car, and it was a couple of teammates, and there's about 10 of them. So we know how strong those guys are when they're running together, and we know they'll play it safe around each other. If there's anything, they're smart until about one to go, and then they just part the seas from my boy Chris Wilhite to get a win last Sunday night in our RTP prep race at Talladega.
There you go. Our running order post pits with about 77 laps left. Blake Bottoms, it continues to lead. He's led it from the start in that 00 machine, followed by Aaron Rodgers, Agnell Phillip, Justin Davidson, Mike Seal, Chris Carroll, Nathan Jurgensen, Steve Olaf in the 69. Brian Zimmerman holding tough in 9th. Brad Ward 10th. Nick Brees has fallen back to 11th. Brian Traeger in 12th. Dan Ursel in 13th. Ed Kane 14th. Larry Bell in the 43 currently sets in the 15th position. Shout out.
They say races are won and lost on pit road. Rocky, not to interrupt you here, but Chris Carroll's crew was about a second faster. He was stationary about a second less than Nate Jurgensen was. I don't know if he may have short fueled that race car or if the crew was just better, but Nate definitely had a lackluster pit stop that time down. Rocky was shouting somebody out, but I'm not really sure who that was. Sure,
it's all good. No, I was gonna say what's up to Thomas Graw in the chat. So welcome again. If you are out there, give us a shout, a howdy, or feedback on how the stream looks. I noticed that it is kind of maybe dropping a few frames, so I will take a look at that momentarily as our field lines up to get ready to restart here on lap 25 of this 100-lap race.
It looks like the pace car is going to come down this time. Lights are out. And speaking of Thomas Grau, there's been some wonderful looking throwback trucks in the ESS racetrack that Thomas Grau has painted. He's a very talented guy. So look out for him. You may see some of that stuff on Twitter. And Thomas, if you can hear this, DM me. I want to run something by you.
All right, propositions on the broadcast stream. That works. All right, here we go, getting ready to restart. The last time by Blake Bottoms definitely waited till the green flag came out before restarting. We'll have to see if he changes up the strategy this time and goes a little bit earlier. He does control the start, and he does. He takes off. He gets a little bit of a jump on the 51 of Aaron Rodgers, and he's going to bring the 94 of Agnell Phillip in tow for that second spot.
As they go side by side off into turn one, a couple rows back behind Blake Bottoms. Blake definitely feeling the groove right now. He felt a good jump on the restart. He's going to even stretch out that lead if we go another long run. It wouldn't surprise me if we do. Interesting note about tire wear. These guys are going to be working on saving their right rears. I'm getting reports from the pit lane that we had some burn up right rears and some not so burn up right fronts as Agnell Phillip gets the job done heading into 3.
Another car moving forward on the start. Chris Carroll gets around the 14 of Nathan Jurgensen, 14 of Justin Davidson on the restart. Nathan Jurgensen, though, with his hands full, trying to hold off the 87 of Brad Ward and the 69 of Steve Olaf.
Those guys are going to race you hard week in and week out. They don't care if you're the points leader, and Nate's going to have to dispatch those guys quickly if he wants any hope of holding on to that points lead. What he doesn't want to do is get involved in an incident, which if Nate's good at anything, he's good at avoiding incidents. So we'll see how that works out.
But right now, Nathan Jurgensen a bit in the eye of the storm as he drives up on the back of the 14 car of Justin Davidson. We'll have to see if he can do anything with them as Chris Carroll moves ahead another position around the 54 of Mike Seal.
Yeah, Mike Seal actually hit a little bit of a slide job on Chris Carroll come out by. Apologized over the radio. Chris definitely had to lift and kind of killed his momentum as Agnell Phillip is hard to get to the back bumper of that dominant 00 machine, and he is doing a good job of it. Blake is not running away like he did at the beginning of the first round.
That is correct. We've got our eyes on Nathan Jurgensen as he has now caught the back of the 54 machine of Mike Seal. Mike Seal, his crew chief in the Road to Pro season this year. We'll have to see if they play nice and work well together. As Mike Seal still battles it hard on the bottom side.
He's going to hang in there. They're going to go side by side heading out across the start finish line for the 30th time this evening. As we start working lap 30, Mike Seal's going to fall in line behind Nate and put no cars between the 99 and the 31. Those are your top two in points, people. We got to pay attention to where those guys finish. So we'll see how this plays out, if Nate can run Chris down or Chris is going to run away. Looking back towards the front of the field at Agnell Phillip again, it looks like the gap has stretched out just a little bit. It was about a half a second last time by. We'll see what it is this time as they cross the stripe.
Well, Chris Carroll is the big mover on this restart. He just put himself in third position, getting around the 51 of Aaron Rodgers, and he has now set his sights on the 94 car of Agnell Phillip and the 00 of Blake Bottoms. That lead gap has shrunk as it's only now a half second between first and second place.
Yeah, 94 is working hard to get to the back bumper of that 00. I just don't know if anybody has any tonight. He showed on that first run that he could really save up some tire and be extremely fast. But again, Agnell's got that bottom working through 3 and 4. He's not running that high line like Blake is. I don't know if he's burning up his right rear as much as those guys that are running the top are. I know it's a high stress running that high line on that right rear, especially through 3 and 4, being a little bit wider corner and much, much more speed. So we'll see how the course of the run goes as Agnell Phillip gets a little out of shape coming out of 2 there.
Yes, he does, but he continues to chip away at that lead. Currently right now 0.3 of a second, making that bottom lane work as they navigate around corners 3 and 4 here at the Kansas Speedway, getting ready to complete lap 32. It's
right behind is, I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
I'm gonna say right behind the 14 car of Justin Saveson, we have a 3-wide battle between Mike Seal, Steve Olaf, and Brad Ward down there in that 87 machine. First time we've really mentioned him tonight. He's showing some speed on that second run. I believe he's figured something out on that first run as Mike Seal continues to fall backwards. I don't know if that 54 car has an issue or he's just off the pace and these guys learning something, but he's falling back here, and it's pretty out of character for Mike as they work out of 4 as Steve gets by him.
Exactly. Brad Ward, the Canadian driver, currently has moved up 9 spots on the grid. Mike Seal has dropped about 6 since the start. Now, looking at the tire strategy, we kind of talked about how badly they're wearing. What is your call? You're a crew chief in this race. What are you feeling? Are you feeling it's going to be 1 stop, or do you feel like it may be 2, depending on the tire situation or how the tires have developed here?
If it's my driver down there on the track, I want my guy on the best tires possible for as long as possible. I'm looking at how can we split this second run up in half and get you out on the best stuff the longest. If it was me, we went green right about lap 25, which means we can make it a 40 lap run to lap 60 and about a 40 lap run to the end. So that's where I'd be looking. Some of these guys are going to run long. We know guys like Nate and Chris have a history of running it as long as they can. They also have a history of short pit. So we'll see how this one plays out. I got to believe some of these guys towards the mid-pack are going to want to do something a little bit different. Wouldn't surprise me if we saw that 70 Wilson. We mentioned that he's a teammate of mine. Wouldn't surprise me if we saw him run his tank absolutely dry, be totally miserable on those tires for 60 to 65 long laps here tonight, and go out there with 30 to go and really give her hell. Or he may short pit it and try to get ahead of these guys and make them some time. But we'll have to see how it plays out. I'm really interested in the strategy and what's going on in that 851 camp right now. How are we going to play this out? We split in half, we go long, we get a short pit. What are we doing here? Nate wants that championship. Chris wants that championship. So does Agnell. The interesting thing is they're all sitting in the same Discord right now discussing things.
Yeah, exactly. And going to the front, that top 3 gap has closed in immensely as Agnell Phillip finds himself 0.3 again off of Blake Bottoms, and right there off the leader, Chris Carroll is only about a half second. So we got a 3-car dogfight here for the lead after Blake Bottoms has led the majority of this race so far.
You know, I'm looking at Blake Bottoms' race car right now, and that graph is shrinking. Also seeing a little crinkle in that right fender. He's definitely hanging out that right rear tire, running that top line. He is burning that thing up. I wonder if he jumped the cushion a little bit, caught a little bit of the wall. I wonder if that damage is slowing him down. Agnell and Chris are definitely, putting a lot more pressure than we saw in the first run. Granted, they had to work their way through the field, but those guys are driving away from your points leader, Nate Jurgensen, right now as they work 3 and 4 coming to the stripe. I'm interested to see if Blake Bottom's car is going to hold up with that right front damage.
Exactly. As we complete lap 38 on to lap 39, we're nearing halfway. Still not yet close enough for our second stops. They will have to pit at least one more time if this race continues to go green. Oh, going back, the 51 car of Aaron Rodgers, 4th place running car in the wall. We'll rewind that back, see what happened, but big trouble for one of our top contenders.
Yeah, significant right front damage. That right front fender is pushed in about 6 inches. That is going to hurt that race car. That car is going to be tight from here on out. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that 51 machine drop back. Looks like just a little mistake. The car got loose, overdrove the top lane there, and that tends to happen here. You're watching a guy like Justin Davidson right behind him right now. He is right on the ragged edge of control as Mike Steele gets to his left rear quarter, coming down the back straightaway here, working into 3 and 4. But these guys are absolutely hanging it all out. They're all trophy hunting. They're not in the points conversation anymore, so they want to play spoiler. They want to be doing burnouts before Nate gets a chance. As Aaron almost catches the wall again coming out of 4th. Definitely fighting a loose condition in that race car here. Let's see how this one plays out over the next few laps before it goes down the road again.
Aaron Rodgers with his hands full, fighting tooth and nail with the 87 of Brad Ward. Brad Ward trying to give him all the space in the world, but also trying to get around that 51 car. We'll see how these two, Aaron Rodgers holding his own though, even with that damage. 54 of Mike Steele right there also in the hunt.
Yeah, those guys are trying to work that bottom lane, and Aaron's getting a big run. Although their margin of error is much greater. If that car steps out on them, they get loose. They have a lot of racetrack up to catch it. We saw Aaron Rodgers get into the wall a few laps ago. That's a result of not having that room for error. You have to be perfect running that top lane. If you watch a guy like Blake Bottoms, I mentioned he does have damage, but that had to have been a fluke. As he is getting passed for the lead by Agnell Phillip coming in through 3, Agnell working that bottom lane. We'll see what kind of run he gets off there. And Agnell is going to clear him, slide up in front, and they're going to go battling off into 1 and 2 as they cross the stripe on lap 43.
That is our first change of lead. Agnell Phillip leading his first laps here tonight. He's got to win this thing plus to have a shot at the championship, but he's doing what he has to put that 94 car out front and hopefully hope the chips fall where they may to maybe beat Chris Carroll or Nathan Jurgensen for his first ever Stock Car Series championship.
Yeah, these guys are pretty spread out right now, Rocky. They're working 3 and 4, and Agnell is driving away from that 00 machine. And in turn, that 99, he's got clean air. He's finally seeing daylight. There's a lot of race cars, a lot of laps and a lot of race cars in between Nate and a championship, and even Chris in a championship. If we get another late yellow, another late restart, anything can happen. Agnell is doing everything that he can right now to put himself in the best position possible to not only hunt that trophy tonight, but also win that championship money.
All right, we will go back in to 5th place as Mike Steele has moved around the 87 of Brad Warden. Both of them have made their way around the 51 of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers continuing to drop back with that damage. We'll go further back in the field as we got a battle for the 11th position. Ed Kane and the 64 of Dan Ursel running side by side, trying to sort out that 11th position.
This is a great battle here between Ed and Dan. That Ed Kane's urgent care and veterinarian facilities for Mustangs.
You're stretching.
It has been pretty quick. It's been pretty quick tonight, and they're both doing something a little unconventional. We've seen battles across this along this race where one guy's all the way riding the wall, one guy's riding all the way at the bottom of the racetrack. They're both kind of running the middle there, fighting for that same piece of real estate. They got pretty close. Both guys did a great job to keep their cars clean and keep moving forward as Ed worked his way past Dan. Looking up through the field here, there's not a lot of exciting stuff going on right now. Blake has gotten passed by Chris, working into 3 and 4. So Chris is now sitting P2, and we updated our points leader. He is right behind Blake in P4. So as of right now, Nate is doing everything he needs to lock up that points championship. Don't put it past a late caution to mess anything up.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, sorry about the technical difficulties. Hope we have it sorted out now. So apologize as we started dropping some frames and bleeped out for a second. Let's see.
At least we're back now, right?
Yeah, I hope so. All right, let's fall back here to the battle for 7th as Aaron Rodgers continues to drop with that damage. His crew chief, Brian Zimmerman, in the 28. Now looking to the low side to get around the 51. Also right there is the 14 of Justin Davidson. Davidson also starting to fall back from his earlier start, top 5 start. Nick Baris also in the hunt in the 66 ride.
Not surprising to see Zimmy start to move forward here. These guys that it was going to take a few minutes for him to get going. But once he got rolling, he's rolling in a big way now. Moving past Aaron, kind of towing the 66 behind him, and whoever's in between them, I can't see right now because I'm in the wrong camera view. Justin Davidson, excuse me. Justin's doing a great job, just like I said he would in practice. Really holding tough right there in the middle of the field. It really shows when you get a good hand here. You can. Justin Davidson's a guy that can really do something with a good race car and a clean race car, more important.
I have to point out, and I only do this because he had appreciated, Nick Baris had a big bobble coming out of 4, heading to the line that last time by. Really lost a lot of space between him and the 51 of Aaron Rodgers. So you can just really see how ill handling this car is on older tires, as we are at halfway at this time.
Yeah, we'll do a mid-race breakdown here. We're going to start with our leader, Agnel Phillip. He has gapped the field. He is driving away. The number 94 on that back bumper is shrinking in Chris Carroll's windshield. He's got a 1.8 second lead over the 99 machine of Chris Carroll, followed up by Nate Jurgensen. So there's your top 3 in points right there. However, as it stands, Nate would finish the points in the points championship. Chris would be in second, and Agnel would be in third. So it's completely reversed his current running order. A guy that I'm kind of surprised to see back up here in 4th with a significant amount of right front damage, Mike Seal. And Brad Ward, a big surprise tonight, rounds out the top 5. He's having a fantastic run. Blake, who dominated the early run in this race, got some right front damage. He now finds himself P6. Brian Zimmerman, who we just got done talking about, runs P7. Justin Davidson, P8, another great run out of him. Aaron Rodgers running 9th, again, right front damage. He was running great early on, and that damage is hurting him. And I'm hearing over the radio that we're getting some pit stops here. We're getting some pit stops. So we got some guys short pitting, going to get some good tires. See if they can't make up some ground before everybody else pits, and see if they can't make the undercut work here.
I do want to point out we only have one car that is in the garage currently. That is the 35 machine of Bradley Yo. As we have hitting pit road, that is the 00 Blake Bottoms, the 64 of Dan Ursel, the 69 of Steve Olaf, currently right now going in for a fresh set of tires.
No doubt Blake Bottoms is begging for some fresh tires and a little bit of reprieve from that damage. Steve Olaf, I got to imagine this is a little bit more of a strategy call. Let's see what we can do with the fresh tires. Let's see if we can't get a caution. Same thing with Dan. Dan's a guy that's been running towards the back of this pack, but a little bit of strategy can go a long way. As Blake is still on pit road, long pit stop for that 00 machine. Same with Steve Olaf. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but those guys are stagnant and stationary for quite a long time here. I wonder if they're not working on getting damage fixed and hoping they can pick up where they left off if we get a restart.
Yeah, Blake Bottoms did tag the wall. He had dropped from dominating the first part of this race all the way to the back end of the top 10 with that damage. So it may be an issue. He's fixing damage, or he was hunting for wins and his shot is done. So we may or may not see Blake Bottoms back out there.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Blake. Really dominant performance early. Just goes to show how just a little crinkle on the right front can really hurt a race car. Another guy with a little crinkle on the right front, but still having a halfway decent race for just joining us late, is the number 79 machine of Alan Wilson. That Race Tools Direct Super is starting to move forward here as we get deeper in the run. I know he practiced this. He wanted to be good on the long runs, and he's really showing a little bit of speed here as he had just worked his way past the number 43 machine of Larry Bell. And they continue to have a good little battle here going on back to P13.
I hate to interrupt, but the first of our top 3 has hit pit road as Chris Carroll comes in for 4 fresh tires and Sunoco fuel. He is undercutting the strategy of the others in the top 5. Agnel Phillip and Nathan Jurgensen still out there on the track.
I want to see how this plays out. You know, they may have the same logos on the hood and the side of the car. They got the same sponsors, USA Firearms and Randy. But you know, they're on different strategy. They're each their own racer. Just because you run for the same team, this is the one sport where you compete against your teammates week in and week out. So I want to see if this will pay off for Chris. Maybe Nate can have a little bit of trouble on pit road. You can't, you know, you never know. Speeding penalty, anything like that can put Chris Carroll in prime position after a wonderful pit cycle there for him to get himself up into that points lead and win a championship here.
Another one to point out, Brad Ward hitting pit road. He was running in the top 10 prior to his pit stop. So we'll start to see each of these competitors make that final stop to pit road as it stands if it goes green the rest of the way.
The way they're spread out here, this race does have a green flag field, so we're really going to come down to pit strategy. A guy like Nate Jurgensen, I'd imagine he's going to run these tires off until they're absolutely bald, and that fuel tank is on fumes getting towards the end. That's just the kind of race that Nate likes to run. This is right here in his wheelhouse. He's going to run up front. He's running P3. He's doing everything he needs to do to win a championship. And then you got a guy like Agnew. Where does he fall in all of it? He wants to finish in front of Chris. He needs to put a couple cars between him and Chris, and maybe this pit strategy will pay off in that. Maybe Chris has some trouble working his way back to the field on fresh tires. Nothing will create more problems for a driver than a guy on 50-lap old tires running up on a guy that is on brand new stuff. That is where trouble starts, and we'll have to see how these guys work through the field as we have Jason Jackson heading down the pit lane to get 4 tires and some fresh Sunoco race.
All right, here we are with 42 laps left in this one. Agnell Phillip right now with about a 4-second lead on the 54 of Mike Seal, followed by the 31 of Nathan Jurgensen and the 28 of Brian Zimmerman. We wait patiently to see who's going to make the move to pit road. Looks like the 81 of James Ward. Larry Bell may have made his second stop. I see that he's come in the last couple laps, so we currently have 11 cars still out that last pitted on lap 23, lap 24.
Looks like Larry Bell has just finished up his pit cycle. We had Jason Jackson for 4 in fuel, as well as the 81 James. I want to get back to Nate here. I want to see where he's looking. Chris Carroll goes by to unlap himself from Nate. He's got a few seconds to make up on Agnell. Let's see if he can do that before Agnell pits. That's going to be huge in terms of tractor. If Chris can get past Agnell before he pits, that means that Agnell is more than likely going to come off of pit road behind Chris Carroll, and that'll put Chris Carroll in control of this race.
There is no bonus points for leading laps or leading the most laps, so getting out there in front may be all for naught unless it's to catch a caution or to stretch this thing out to possibly sneak out a win. But we'll have to keep an eye on that 99 machine of Chris Carroll as he currently sets first car 1 lap down with Agnell about 2 seconds ahead of him.
If I know Chris Carroll, a trophy at the end of this night in the second place in points will put a bigger smile on his face than winning in points and winning the championship. The guy is a trophy hunter. Think a la AJ Allmendinger in the Xfinity Series last year. They weren't there to win a championship. They were there to get trophies. And I feel like Chris Carroll's a guy with that kind of mindset. Fun-loving guy, loves to race, loves being out here. Nicest guy in the world, even if he is Canadian. You have Aaron Rodgers coming over the radio, waving a hand out the window, signaling that he is going to come down and get 4 fresh tires and Sunoco race fuel. As Ed Kane has managed to work past him, it looks like, unless Ed has already pit.
Aaron Rodgers was 5th place prior to his pit stop, so we'll keep an eye on that. Another one that is recently dropped onto pit road, the 14 of Justin Davidson. But right now, our top 10 currently still out there on the tires that they took about lap 23. I take that back, top 8. So a lot of guys stretching it out, including our leader, Agnell Phillip. Chris Carroll has now unlapped himself and is the last car on the lead lap.
Well, that bodes well for a guy like Brad Ward, where if we were to get a caution a couple of laps, he would get that lucky dog. It'd be kind of unfortunate. Well, most of these guys will get a wave around, but Brad would be able to come down and get four more tires, as I believe they should all have at least 1 sticker set of tires laying. As Nate Jurgensen works to P2 and Ed Kane works to P3 with Aaron Rodgers getting 4 in fuel, getting ready to lead that box. Looks like he's getting a little bit of damage fixed on that 51 machine as Mike Seal pulls in for his service.
Mike Seal, our leader is in as well. So Agnell Phillip gives up the lead to come in. Nathan Jurgensen, I believe, is going to follow suit. So 2 of our top contenders in the points championship find themselves on pit road with the 36 laps left in this one. That's going to move possibly Ed Kane into the lead for the first time tonight, followed by Nick Parise. Who else is out there? Brian Traeger's still out there. So this right now between Agnell and Nate could be the race for the lead in this one. We'll see who can make it out the pits first. Looks like Agnell's going to do it.
Looks like Agnell's going to get it done. I went back and watched his pit entry. No drama there at all. No praise you can do. Got down in that box, didn't slide the tires, even though he was getting 4 new ones, and he works his way back out on the racetrack. I want to find out where this 99 car is at. He is working his way in turns 1 and 2, it looks like, I believe. So he is going to get past Agnell Phillip here as Agnell Phillip exits. Oh, no, he's working out of 3 and 4. So Agnell is going to be a little bit ahead of him on the racetrack here. So this will be really interesting.
Very interesting considering Agnell is going to be on fresher tires. Chris Carroll needs to gap him by a little bit to even have a shot at this thing. Right now, as it stands, he's going to have about an 8-second lead, or about a 12-second lead over Agnell Phillip as we get ready to complete lap 66.
Well, that is a huge, huge swing. That 10 or 15 lap difference, I'm not sure the exact number, and when they pit means that Agnell Phillip is going to have fresher tires to extend that lead. Now, as you said, doesn't matter how many laps you lead, doesn't matter how far ahead of the guy you finish. As long as Chris finishes in the second position where he's running right now, he will come in second in this points championship. And let's see how Nate Jurgensen fared getting off the pit road. Looks like Nate is not that far behind Chris and Agnell, so they're working hard to stay up. However, interesting development here. Nate is currently running P7, and we do still have some cars left to pit, but I believe Mike Seal has already been down pit road, and he's in front of Nate. A guy like Dan Ursel. These are guys that came in on strategy. Brad Ward came in a little early and have put themselves in between Nate and Agnell in terms of positions.
Yeah, right now our leader is the 6-car Brian Traeger, trying to stretch it for all it's worth. He has led the last few laps. He currently has about a 5-second lead on Chris Carroll, as we got one really loose up in the top lane. That's the 79 of Alan Wilson. We'll have to look back further in the field and see where the rest of our top competitors shake out. Brad Ward inherits the 3rd position, and then you fall to the 94 of Agnell Phillip, who's closed up that gap from 22 seconds back to 15, or to about 11 seconds back of Chris Carroll. So Agnell is charging in a hurry.
Alan Wilson getting loose, and you just wanted to mention that he's going to be our ESR radioactive sweetheart. Still getting used to the league name change, as I'm sure there was some colorful language flying as that car got really loose coming off the corner there. Back to Agnell, he's just stretching this gap out. He's a little bit behind Chris, actually. He came out behind him on pit road, so that worked out for him, but he is running him down. He's on about 15 lap pressure tires, and at this point, if he can get past him and we stay green, he's going to drive away from that 99 mission. Nate is still mired back there in P7 too.
All right, pointing it out, our final car to pit, Brian Traeger, has hit pit road after leading a portion of this race. So Traeger really stretching it out, hoping for a caution, doesn't get it, ends up coming down and will drop back. But now Chris Carroll, a little bit older tires, having to deal with some lap traffic, as the 79 of Alan Wilson has caught him. The 86 of Jason Jackson also right there, and he's now only got about an 8-second lead over Agnell Phillip for first place. Brad Ward also right there, as it looked like Chris Carroll may have tagged the outside wall coming out of 4.
Yeah, a guy like I was saying, a guy like Brad Ward, he's not here to win a championship races, and he has done that on strategy. Let's see how Chris Carroll's car looks here after he tags the wall. I'm not seeing a significant amount of damage as of this point. A little crinkle on the right front as Nick Parise is on some fresher stuff, looking to run right past him there. He's got Jason Jackson on his inside. These are all guys fighting to get back on the lead lap. So if we do get that yellow, they will be on the lead lap, and we'll be able to pit with the leaders and not have to stay a lap down. Agnell is closing that gap up significantly. We're down to 7.3. That is almost a 1.5 second difference per lap that Agnell is running now. So we just dropped it down to 5.72. So now we're looking at Agnell catching Chris here in the next 4 to 5 laps and eventually blowing the doors off that 99 851 USA Firearms Camaro and driving himself to a win tonight.
Chris Carroll, his hands are full as lap cars of Nick Maurice, Jason Jackson, Steve all fight around him, and we now have a battle for second place as the 94 of Agnell Phillip drives up on the back bumper of the 87 of Brad Ward. These two are gonna go at it, going into one. Agnell looks to the bottom, and it looks like he's gonna handily get around Brad Ward as Agnell has about 10 lap fresher tires than the 87. Brad Ward, or Agnell Phillip, now sets his sights on the 99 of Chris Carroll for that lead.
Something I noticed about the 94 going past that 87. That 87 was about 3 legs up, not quite right on the wall, but he was pretty far up there and swatting flies in the cockpit of that race car. Agnell Phillip, just as smooth as butter going through 1 and 2 on the bottom side, had no issues. The car didn't look upset at all. He was driving that thing as smooth as he can. He's keeping the tires on it. I would love to know what his tire wear looked like after that last green flag pit stop he just ran, as he works to run down the 99 of Chris Carroll, who he can undoubtedly see out the windshield about 2.5 to 3 seconds ahead of him here as they cross the stripe coming to lap 76.
Well, right on board Agnell Phillip, as you can see Chris Carroll right there at the end of the straightaway in Agnell Phillip's sights. Agnell Phillip running that that high line, not quite near the wall as it seems, but you can see him really work the wheel as this car just is as loose as can be. So Agnell Phillip showing great hands as he moves within 1.5 seconds of our leader, Chris Carroll.
The physical distance that Agnell Phillip was able to close down on that lap goes to show you that strategy that Agnell and Nate worked through that green flag pit cycle was the right one. Chris Carroll is now out there on the island. He's out there leading the race right now, logging off lead laps, but he is not going to be there for long, as Agnell Phillip has brought it within 1 second coming down the American Ethanol backstretch, working into 3 and 4. I wouldn't be surprised if we had ourselves a battle for the lead spot here coming into turn 1 and 2 as Agnell closes up right to that back bumper, working through the exit of turn 4, coming across the stripe. Chris is loose. He's fighting that race car. He's in there swatting flies in the cockpit. He's doing everything he can to stay out in front, but the tire advantage is going to be too much as Agnell Phillip works to the bottom of the racetrack going into turns 1 and 2, and he is going to clear the 99 machine and Chris Carroll to reassume the lead and drive away what would assume in this race. Update on Nate Jurgensen real quick. He's made himself up to P5, and that's all he really needs to do. There is not enough cars in between him and Chris, or him and Agnell, in order for him to lose this championship at this point. And you know he is sitting pretty. He's going to keep the nose on that race car. It is just as clean as it was when it rolled off the trailer this evening.
Yeah, Nathan Jurgensen does what he needs to do to hang on to that points lead. Agnell Phillip also doing what he needs to do to even have a shot at it, driving the 94 machine up to the lead, getting around the 99 of Chris Carroll. And Chris Carroll continues to slide back as he's already fallen 1.3 seconds from Agnell Phillip. So that early pit call was great at getting up front, but not going to be good on the long run if this race continues to be a green flag race to the end.
And I don't see it really going anywhere any other way. The field is really spread out now.
Watch the commentators curse on that one there, bud.
You know, I'm hoping for it. I want an exciting end here. I don't know if I had like the Rocky. I know if I'm rooting for a caution in any race that I'm in, I couldn't buy one. But I'd love to see them restack the field here and really see what we can get out of here if we get everybody on fresh tires. As Jason Jackson becomes the first car a lap down, as Agnell Phillip is absolutely smooth, ripping that top side and just driving away. He's really been the class of the field tonight ever since Blake Bottoms hit that wall and has retired from the race at this point. But Agnell is doing everything he needs to do. You know, he can walk away from this race even if it does play out. If the race was to end right now and he'd be P3 in the championship, he can say that I went out there to Kansas tonight and I ran my race and I put myself in the best possible position I could be in to win a championship. And I think he can hold his head high and say that and go home happy tonight.
One guy I have to point out who's having a terrific run, that is the 64 of Dan Ursel, currently having one of his best runs of the season here in the finale, currently showing 6th place. The Canadian driver doing his best show, building up that speed throughout the season, and now has it on display in 6th place here tonight at Kansas Speedway.
You love to see it for a guy like Dan. You love to see it for a guy like Brad. We know the heavy hitters in this series. They all have that really distinctive A51 on the hood. But for a guy like Brad, who's a guy that doesn't have the big team support like the A51 guys do, or Dan, or even a Justin Davidson, or a Larry Bell, who's having a top 5 run here. Or top 10 run here, excuse me. Excuse me. All these guys are showing that they do have the speed, do have the talent, given the right set of circumstances here to run with these big boys. There's a lot of big names at the bottom of this list. Blake Bottoms led the whole first run. Brian Zimmerman had a pit road speeding penalty. He didn't get down pit road very well. Aaron Rodgers, perennial front runner in the series. It just goes to show the racing in the ESR League is so great that there's enough parity that we can run every week, and different guys are going to be running in the top 10, and that's one of the best parts about this league.
Yeah, we got a good battle here for the 4th place, which actually includes our points leader, Mike Seal, and Nathan Jurgensen. Jurgensen kind of in a perilous position. He's got to get around some lap cars as well as try to work his way around the 54. So Nate Jurgensen not just resting on the laurels and wrapping up a championship, he's also trying to get every position he can and maybe get a 4th place finish here tonight.
That doesn't surprise me not one bit. I say that Nate Jurgensen go home P5 in a points championship, but that case as Steve Olin moves to the bottom of the racetrack, lets Nate take that run across and go back to work on that 54 car. Nate's the kind of guy that when it gets down to these about 15 to go here, which we're closing in on, he's going to say, hey, I'm not at the front. I want to be up there. So he's going to put everything he can into that race car for the next 15 or so laps and see if he can't get a little bit closer. He's got about a 12-second lead to our leader, Agnell Phillip, who is absolutely driving away right now. But he's the type of guy that's going to work as hard as he can to get up there no matter where he stands.
Yeah, good battle here, shaping up for 2nd place as Brad Ward has started to close in on the 99 of Chris Carroll. Brad Ward having one of his best shows this season in the stock car series. He has one earlier this year in the short track series here at eSRL. So great run by Brad Ward here to close out the season and looking at putting the 87 machine in 2nd.
That Lordco Auto Parts Ford Mustang really looking sporty tonight. You love, like I was just talking about, you love to see it for a guy like Brent. He's out there running with the big boys, really showcasing his talent, getting a lot of TV time right now. Something that he normally wouldn't get. He's back there usually right around me, probably a few cars ahead of me, as bad luck as I've had this season. But he's a guy that's not necessarily going to be running for a podium spot, but tonight he is showing that he has the talent and the class to hang with the big boys like Chris Carroll, which it wouldn't surprise me in these closing laps here to see that 87 disappearing in the windshield of that 99.
Yeah, so great run by our driver in the 87 machine here tonight. But right now, the class of the field is that 94 machine of Agnell Phillip here with 13 laps left. He's looking to close in on his 2nd stock car series win this season. He's been was hunting that first win for quite a while and is now shaped up to a perennial front runner. Agnell Phillip having a great run this season. We'll see how he does. 12 laps to go.
Agnell's a guy that came into this series unaffiliated, didn't have a team. Really showcased his talents. He's gotten significantly faster. You can turn on any of the big names in iRacing Twitch and find him leading the races. I was watching an NIS the other night, and I happened to look up at the standings on Casey Kerwin's stream and saw Agnell Phillip out front. This is a guy that's not just fast here, he's fast everywhere. This is a guy that has a whole bunch of talent, and he's finally gotten a chance to show it off. He's recently been affiliated. I guess he's been affiliated with the A51 boys for a little while now, but they picked him up to full road to pro because they saw that talent. And that is a well-deserved position on that team as he works a lot of traffic here down the American FLX straightaway for the 90th time.
Yeah, precarious position there as the 6 car of Brian Traeger unlaps himself for one of his laps back. Actually back on the lead lap. So Brian Traeger now trying to pick up some positions here in the 9th spot. Looks to work around 8th place Justin Davidson. That just kind of goes to show how fast Agnell Phillip is. He is now lapping cars that were running in the top 10. So Agnell Phillip putting on a dominating performance here tonight.
Not only guys that were running in the top 10, but guys that were running in the top 5 early on. Justin Davidson hung on to top 5 position majority of that first run. I think he fell back to 6th right before our only yellow flag of the evening, knock on wood, came out and jumbled our field back up. But Agnell is just dominant. A guy, look how close he's staying to Brian Traeger, a guy who has 15 to 20 lap fresher tires than him, and Agnell is still right on the back bumper of that number 6 Valvoline machine as we work lap 92 in turns 1 and 2 here going down the back stretch, as Agnell looks like nobody's got anything to do.
Yeah, we'll drop back here to 4th place as Nate Jurgensen has moved around the 54 of Mike Seal, again picking up one more points position to pad his hold on the points lead. Nate Jurgensen looks to capture his first Stock Car Series championship, as we only have 8 to go this time by. We'll see how this shakes up, if we get a late caution, if there's anything that could wreck his points. But if he holds it right now, he would be your 2021 spring champion.
Yeah, Nate would have to be his own worst enemy here, I feel. He's worked himself back into P4. Only Brad Ward between him and his other 2 points competitors. As Brad has worked his way past Chris Carroll and has opened up about a half a second lead on him. And I'd love to see that 87 car finish in P2 tonight. That would just put a smile on my face. As hard as that young man has worked this entire season to show that he has the talent to run with us and run fast and be up there at the front, you'd love to see it pay off in the last race of the season and build some momentum for next year. Wouldn't surprise me if we got back going here in the summer months, if Brad Ward was a perennial top 5 and even contending to win races on a pretty weekly basis here in the eSRL. And I look forward to seeing him grow up in this league as his first season here in the Stock Car Series come to an end.
Yeah, one thing to point out, he has only 1 lap fresher tires than that of 3rd place Chris Carroll. So he's definitely held his own, even on a little bit older tires than Agnell Phillip, Nathan Jurgensen, and Mike Seal.
And the big difference, and the biggest difference between the 99 machine and the 87 machine, take a look at the right front fenders. Doesn't look like Brad has any bit of a scratch on that car, while Chris has got it. Well, he's got a little bit of a ding. Let me take that back. I guess he's just managing those tires a little bit better than Chris, as Ed Kane works himself in between the 2 of them, putting just 1 more car in between Brad and Chris. Ed Kane is, unfortunately, a lap car. That Ed Kane mobile home repair and pool supplies Ford Mustang working its way back to a lead lap finish. I heard him come over the radio a little while ago that El Fuego has been El Stinko tonight. I can't say I can argue with him very much. However, the car is pretty much clean and he's not wrecked anybody, so he's doing better than I would have.
All right, the New York native Agnell Phillip comes down to record 4 to go here in tonight's feature. He's done what he could to go up the points chart, and actually right now, as it stands, he may be tied and surpass Chris Carroll for that 2nd place in points. So all for naught, Agnell Phillip might still get his best points finish of the of his ESRL career. So Agnell Phillip doing a great job, doing what he can to move his way up the points championship, but as it stands now, not enough to get around Nate Jurgensen for 1st.
I'll tell you what, Agnell Phillip is the biggest Nate Jurgensen and Brad Ward fan in the world right now. The fact that Brad stands between him and Chris, and the fact that Nate is closing up that gap at about a 2nd a lap rate on Chris Carroll. Chris Carroll has struggled this time. Let's just be honest. He's got about a 2-second gap back to Nate and about 2 laps to do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nate gave him a hell of a run here, coming to the checkered flag on the last lap to get that position back and potentially put our boy Agnell Phillip into the 2nd place championship picture.
Well, then that's not just for prestige. That's also a little bit of extra cash in Agnell Phillip's pocket. So
for sure.
He's going to be excited about that. That is for sure. As we have looks like 2 to go or 3 to go 2 to go. Man, it's been a long race.
It has been a long race. A lot of green flag laps, which is what this league is known for.
Yeah.
We don't do a whole lot of wrecking, especially when that 9 machine's in the garage and I'm up here in the booth. But it looks like Nate Jurgensen may just be able to run down Chris Carroll, as Chris Carroll is still struggling running that top line. It seems like that early pit stop is not.
Oh no, we got some action on the track. Brandon Sheffield gets loose in front of Agnell Phillip here with 1 to go. A little bit of a scary situation. I'm sure not what Agnell wanted to see there at the end. But yeah, Agnell Phillip, great job here tonight. Dominating fashion, is going to end up taking this finale in the stock car series. So congrats to that young man as he also moves his way what should be a second place points finish. And then we'll drop back to the 31 of Nate Jurgensen.
Nate crosses the line, and P4 didn't quite get to Chris. I thought he might.
But Nate
Some
Jurgensen
drifting going on through 1 and 2 on the last lap here.
Well, congrats to Nathan Jurgensen for capturing his first ever Stock Car Series championship. I know it's a long time coming, so great run all season by that man to finally seal the deal here tonight. So we will get word with our top 3 in points and in finish and do some interviews and stuff like that. Lawrence, if you could give us the unofficial rundown, I'll jump in and corral our points contenders.
All right, so our unofficials race results here with pretty much official point because iRacing. We've got Agnell Phillip in P1, Brad Ward in P2, Chris Carroll P3, Nate Jurgensen, your points champion, P4, Mike Seal rounds out the top 5, Dan Ursel P6, Brian Traeger P7, Brandon Sheffield had some trouble there at the end, still managed to P8, nice top 10 run for him. Alan Wilson rounds out P9, and Justin Davidson rounds out your top 10 as we got some good burnouts here going on in the front stretch with your champion and your race winner, teammates, good friends, and then Anthony Davis with your sport. Nick Maurice, P11, good run from him. Aaron Rogers, Jason Jackson, Larry Bell, James Ward, Brian Zimmerman, Steve Olaf, Ed Kane, Alex Harris, Blake Bottoms, Bradley Young. Those are your guys. Those last 3 or 4 guys are your non-finishers. All right, go. Everybody else finished at least 1 or 2 laps down, and we are going to start our demo derby as Agnell Phillip has finished his burnouts. And man, what a race. A lot of green flag laps there. Strategy paid off.
Oh man, it feels good. It feels good. We've run good in this series the last couple seasons, and I think we lost maybe by 1 point each time. So it was good to kind of get this one. Stressful race though, knowing I just kind of needed to finish 5th. That was my goal, to finish 5th and just try to avoid everybody. And so it's kind of stressful not to be running for the win, but instead just keep your car clean. I don't think I've done a race like that really. But it was fun. Congrats to Agnell putting a whipping on the field there. Brad and Chris had good pit strategy there. But yeah, my goal there was just to be by myself as much as possible on the track.
Murder.
Well, great racing this season, everybody. We'll see you guys around.
Hey, man,
There was a couple close calls there for sure. I think the biggest thing, I don't think it was people being disrespectful or nothing, but I had actually 3 of the cars I was following smashed into the wall into turn 1, 3 different occasions. And of course, when you get the wall there, you just come to a stop, right? So you had to make like big evasive maneuvers down to the bottom. So it was, it was probably a little more interesting than I want it to be. And, anytime you're running a high line track, right, just getting in there a little too deep, going over the bump wrong in one could put you right in the wall and end your race. So it's stressful. Felt a lot like Homestead there. It's stressful just to run right next to the wall, 200 corners and, not hit the wall ever, but we were able to do that. That was the only goal. And I think we would have honestly, I was kind of a granny out there tonight. I really wasn't pushing it at all. I never went full throttle till I was on the straightaway. I think we would have maybe gotten second there. But the pit strategy, Brad and Chris, I thought their pit strategy was awesome there. They pit real early and it worked for them.
Well, just one thing I got to point out, all my questions that you answered were completely silent on my end, so I just unmuted my mic, so you're going to look like a crazy person in this interview. I'm sorry, Nate.
Could they hear me, or could they hear you or hear me?
They could totally hear you. They could not hear
Oh,
me.
that's all that matters. I mean, I'm saying all this cool stuff. You know, as long as they hear me, it's all good.
All right, I gotta reflect back on this season because you put on a great show week in, week out. But there was one week I know that was particularly difficult. Going back to Legacy, Kentucky, you finished, I believe, last place out of the cars with an
75th.
early incident. You know, had a really tough time. Looking at it now, how do you reflect on that moment and what it means to finally seal the deal and win the championship today?
I think the starting having a point leader start in the back changed the dynamic of the entire season, and it was pretty cool. I think we had 5 winners in 7 races, which is, I think, better than usual. That's great, but it definitely created a scenario where, you know, the points leaders had to decide: do you go running up through the field and take some chances, or do you ride around and grab points? And that was just like a totally different dynamic that I'm not totally used to, which I don't think it was either good or bad. It was just interesting. So. Yeah, I mean, it was rough getting. I got taken out in USA. Luckily, short track damage didn't cost us too bad. Got a top 5, and then Kentucky just kind of got driven through, and it was like, that's frustrating when that happens. So it's but it ends up working out, I think. And I don't know. I think of what we had: 5 races, 6 races where guys started in the back, 6 races where guys started in the back, and I think there was maybe only 3 incidents. You know, so that's like what, 8 times 18, 3 out of 18. It really wasn't. We didn't have a problem with leaders getting wrecked, but yeah, that Kentucky situation, that was rough. And luckily, we have a drop week, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, Lawrence, do you have anything for our champion Nate Jurgensen?
Yeah, I want to know what that 851 Discord, when you guys are on differing pit strategies, especially there when you're trying to separate yourselves as much as humanly possible from the pack. What are you guys talking about? Are you talking to Chris and Agnell? Did you know Chris was going to pit about 10 laps early? Walk me through that whole green flag pit stop situation really quick.
Yeah, we all talk to each other and say, you know, what we're going to be doing. You know, because I mean, if you didn't, you could just ask somebody else. Like, you know, if Agnell won't say when he's pitting, then I could just ask Blake to tell me when Agnell's, you know what I mean? Like, so we all say what we're going to do and what our different strategies are. And we kind of know what each other's strategies are going to be, right? Like, Agnell needed to win this race to have a shot at the championship. So I know he's going, you know, as hard as he can from the start, and he's going to be pitting optimal. Whereas, like, you know, I waited. I didn't want to pit till Agnell pitted, right? Because as long as I don't fall a lap down, I've probably got this. As long as I don't wreck or fall a lap down. So I just waited until everybody had already pitted so that I could pit and not fall a lap down. So, you know, all of our strategies are sort of set. And, you know, Chris had to throw a Hail Mary there. And, you know, I don't know if it improved his track position. I think if he'd have pit optimal, maybe finish a second there instead of third. But, you know, he's going for the win, right? Like they were both, Agnell and Chris were starting the race a little before. So yeah, I mean, we're pretty civil on the Discord over there, and I think we all know what each other are gonna do, but kind of before we do it.
Right. And then me and Casey, sorry, Rocky kind of talked about it opening the broadcast and your mindset heading into this race. We're back at 1.5 miles. You're starting in the back like you have all season long. Is Kentucky in the back of your mind? I know that was not something that you had planned on, to something you even wanted to see happen at Kentucky, but you fought through it. Thank God for the drop, as you said. Is that in the back of your mind? And then once you answer that, go ahead and give all the shout outs that you need.
And for yeah, no, it's absolutely in the back of the mind. I mean, that's all I'm thinking is, you know, if I wreck, I probably don't win it, and if I don't wreck, I'll probably win it, right? I feel like I can just kind of run half speed and snag a top 5, and that's all I need was a top 5. So I just kind of, you know, I think once we got about 25 laps, and once we got through that the first restart of the race, you know, we had the 1 yellow, and we got through that restart without wrecking, and I think I was running 5th or 6th or something. I was thinking, okay, this is now where I need to be. I know I can run 200 corners here on this wall without hitting it. And so I felt pretty good there. And you were just kind of, me and Agnell are just like, well, oh God, there's going to be a caution here, you know, fine. But when he took the white, we were all good. So yeah, that was my mindset was definitely, you know, don't wreck. But at the end of the day, you know, you're not given these, right? You got to go out there and take it. And I think we were able to do that this season. Had a lot of good runs. And so shout out to Agnell on winning. I think he got 2 wins this year as well. And so that's awesome. It's good. I mean, he's getting tough to beat. I feel like every week he's a little bit quicker. I'm not sure how often he'll be losing races here soon. And obviously everybody on the team, Chris and Mike, were up there in the top 5 as well. Big shout out to, hey, Lawrence, that's awesome you're doing the broadcast tonight. And Rocky, always for doing the broadcast, putting all this on. And I actually, can I make a quick announcement?
Sure.
I'm going to take my prize purse here, whatever I win for this. I'm going to host a race if Rocky lets me do it in conjunction with eSRL, the new acronym. So I think we should do a Rocky. What do you think about this? How about do a Win Nathan's Money race?
Hey, I'm totally fine with that.
I'm here for it. Plate track, please.
we'll have to work out the details and everything like that and what you had in mind. But yeah, I'm definitely down.
Just something normal, 1,000 laps at Bristol, no caution, something like that.
Hey, put it in the Jetta, and we do it as a dirtbag enduro. I am down for that.
Sounds good. Glad to get this. This is awesome. This is exciting. And yeah, shout out to you, Rocky, for putting all this on. Appreciate it.
Hey, you're very welcome. Again, congrats on the championship. I know you've been hunting for it for a while, and really glad to see you get it, man. So very, very happy for you.
All right. Love both of you guys.
Yeah,
right,
congrats,
we'll
Nate. And I heard a little birdie tell me that a young man named Presley Sora is going to for you next season, so we'll see how that works out.
Well, I like racing. I like it more when he's on the track racing with us.
I hear you, buddy. Congrats.
Later, guys. Yeah,
All right,
later.
thank you, Nate. All right, we will bring in Agnell Phillip into the booth, our race winner. Agnell Phillip, you had a great run, man. Just ended up taking that, doing what you had to do to even have a shot at winning this championship. You ended up coming in second in points. How are you feeling tonight?
Feeling good. That was fun. That was a fun race. Actually, I know that Kansas isn't the most loved track on the series.
Oh, how dare you!
You've gotten
that is my favorite track.
private messages to that effect, Rocky. Or at least if you haven't, you should be getting them soon.
Fair enough.
But it played out really similar to the New Hampshire race we had a couple weeks ago there. So I kind of drove the same way that I did then, and it worked out even better than it did then. So I'm pleased with it, man. That's all you can do.
Now, looking back at that race, you were very fast early on, came through the field in a hurry, and I know that was all strategy to try and put as much distance between you and Nate Jurgensen, Chris Carroll, to even have a shot at the championship. But once you got up there at that restart, seeing the 00 in your eyesight, how did you feel about your chances there going in the second half of the race?
I think it was fairly clear. I'm sure it was clear on the broadcast too. If Blake, doesn't slip up at any moment, I know he's having some hardcore difficulties too with his frame rates. But if he didn't, if he creeps the car like off the wall for that entire run, I don't think there's any amount of tire that I could have saved to get around him. He's just so fast. And clean air is just such a big deal all along the sim. Not as much in these cars, but still enough to where at a place that's already so hard to pass like Kansas, I was riding there. I saw him kind of yawn the car out a couple of times, and I was like, all right, well, we'll see what happens. I'll kind of keep the pressure on him there. I had to run. I don't know if you guys kind of noticed, I was running the low line in 3 and 4 for most of the beginning of the race to try and save a little bit of tire, but once I saw the opportunity to kind of put some pressure on Blake and also kind of keep Chris, who was charging hard in that segment there too, at bay a little bit, I just took it. It's just a wait and see to kind of see what happens. But everybody in this league is so good. It just takes one little slip up to kind of separate. And in this case, it just so happened to be Blake getting the short end of the stick on that one. And it's happened to me plenty of times. So, it worked out, and I'm looking forward to building on this in the next season.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were hunting for your first win there for a while. Now you got that, and then you've ran that back up 2 weeks later with another win. How motivated, and second place in points, how motivated are you going into the July series when we get back into the stock cars?
Oh, I'm excited. I mean, I just love doing this, man. This has been so fun to kind of discover this as a hobby over the last year plus, and just running in this league is fun. So the competition's always great. The guys are always really fun to race with. So I'm excited to get back out there. Maybe with some some tweaks, Rocky, if you'll consider them, to the points allocation format here.
You can put them in the suggestion bin. I'm my ears are always open, as we all know.
I think it'll be interesting. I think we've got just the top like 6 guys in this league are just so close together on pace. It really just kind of comes down to all the ancillary stuff. It's not really about who's the best at the track anymore, which makes it kind of fun when you hit it, and very frustrating and motivates you when you don't. So it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to next season.
All right, sounds great. Lawrence, do you have anything for Agnell Phil?
Well, I was going to ask him about the low side, but apparently tired.
Fire and fuel. It's fire and fuel, and just keeping it out of the wall. Like that was another thing. It's just it was self-preservation to a large degree, and it doesn't cost you that much time at 3 and 4.
Right. So since we've touched on that, I just wanted to talk to you real quick, Agnell, about your rise through this league and through iRacing as a whole. I remember when I'm old enough to remember being around here for a few seasons now, when you first came in, and you were a guy that we're running towards the front of the mid pack, but we're a mid pack guy, and then all of a sudden, one day you just kind of showed up and blowed up, and now you can't watch a top split streamer without seeing Agnell Phillips' name on there. Just talk to us for a minute about how you rise through the ranks and what you really do to be as fast as you are for
Lawrence
a
wants all your
2.2K guy
secrets.
like me. I do want the secrets. No, I do, because it's really cool to see a guy that I can say, man, I raced with this cat when he was all the way, at the same IDA rating that I'm at now, and he's up there fighting for not only running in top split, but regularly running and fighting for wins in top split and championships in a series when you have guys that are. I get in here and go, well, I'm going to probably run 6th if I run the best race of my life, because there's a Blake Bottoms and a Nate Jurgensen and an Agnell Phillip and a Chris Carroll out there in front of me.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you saying all that, Lawrence. And for me, I picked this up as like I said, as a kind of, I wouldn't even say a hobby. It's become more than a hobby, honestly. It's just become kind of the thing that got me through the pandemic and kind of being in quarantine, isolation, whatever you want to call it. This was just something easy to do, not easy to do as a skill, but just like kind of an easy way to take up time and always have something to be working on and getting better at. And I, like so many other like skill-based things, this is like no different. It's entirely a function of kind of how much time you're able to put seat time wise into just running laps, and sometimes that's running laps by yourself and getting up to speed with stuff and watching and learning from streamers and from, if you're on a team, from teammates, to just trying to understand like what you need to do to get to the level that they're at and to try and replicate what they're doing, and then getting, reps in race situations. For a long time I had pace last year, but I just didn't have the ability to put races together. And that's something that kind of, you can't practice that on your own. You have to practice that in race situations, right? So it's just, as many reps as you can get, and making those reps count, and making sure you're always learning something, and trying to always improve, and always having it in your mind that you could be better, is kind of the way that I try to approach all of this. And it seems to have worked out. If the pandemic hadn't happened and I wasn't stuck inside for so long, I might not have had the time to put in to get to this level this quickly. So it's just one of those things that's kind of worked out.
Well, you've done a great job coming up, and it makes me proud to be on the same track as you, as one of the lower skill guys. And I just wanted to give you a chance to.
I'll give yourself more credit than that, man.
Let's be honest here. Just give a shout out to anybody you need to give a shout out to, and we'll say congratulations for the final time.
Thanks. Well, first shout outs obviously to Mr. Rocky Hartpence for putting on this amazing league. It's a great group of guys, great times, and he does an excellent job administering it. Points. Points aside.
I feel a deduction coming.
Oh no, trouble.
I don't think that's in the rule book anywhere, Rocky. Anyway, first off to him, and then to the 851 guys. It's just we're working hard to get ready for Darlington. It's always fun running with those guys and really learning from them. Just my family to some extent. I don't think they're watching the stream right now. I'll probably send it to them, but they've been really supportive of this. So and just everyone in the league. So yeah, And thanks to you both for having me on here and for administering the race.
You're very welcome again. Congrats on the great run this season, the win tonight, and everything like that. It's been great to see your progress all the way this season. And go get that top 70 finish in Road to Pro. We want to see a eSPEED League member out there running the Coke Series, hopefully by the end of all this.
All right, man. We'll do our best. Thanks.
All right, bye. All right, we will bring in finally Chris Carroll into the booth, talk to him. Chris Carroll, you did what you could. You wind up third place in tonight's race. You tried your hardest. You tried to pull some pit strategy. How are you feeling tonight?
I was all in fun, Rocky. I had nothing to lose coming in here. I can't remember how I got 6 points behind, but I think I wrecked or something. But Nathan was having a good season and Agno was having a good season, and I had to come in here and win it. And I don't want to wish any ill will on anybody, but I needed ill will, and I tried for the win. I had nothing to lose.
No, for sure. You definitely did what you could. I mean, it looked like you had your hands full most of that last run on that last set of tires. How were you feeling out there with all those lap cars trying to get around? I know you got undercutted by quite a bit. Looked like there was some tense moments.
Beautiful thing about that top lane is them guys that are coming on fresh tires. They don't affect me at all. It didn't affect lap time, or affect anything. So I could just run my line up there and hope I stayed out front and hope for a caution when Agno started coming there.
No, I understand. Now, you were the defending Stock Car Series champion. Came very close to repeating here in the end of this one. How motivated are you going into the next season?
I am going to beat Nathan like a That's how motivated I am. I had a lot of fun here, man. I didn't even know I was a defending champion. I forget what race we're in and what series we're running, and we run enough of them. It's so much fun, but yeah, I didn't even know that. So were we running Arca car last time? Maybe, I guess. Right?
Correct. Yeah.
Well, I forgot. Yeah, I'm bad in these Xfinity cars, so it's. I knew I was behind the 8 ball at the start of the season. Agnell and Nathan are very good in them.
No, I understand. Lawrence, you got anything for Chris Carroll?
Yeah. First of all, Chris, congrats on P3 in points. Always a threat out there, man. Let's look ahead a little bit. We've talked about tonight's race enough. We talked about the pit strategy to death. Let's look ahead to the short track series. You're fighting for another championship there.
Am I? I don't even. What is the points? I gotta look them up.
You're about 3 points behind Mr.
Chris.
Mr.
You're my favorite.
Agno Phillip here with looks like maybe 1 race to go, 2 races to go in the short track series. So I'm not really sure. Rocky, remind me where you guys go there. I'm not.
The short track series will be wrapping up at Nashville on Friday night.
How you feeling about Nashville, Chris? What are we thinking?
Nashville likes me, and I like Nashville. And if Agno Phillip gets anywhere near me, I'm gonna take the bumper to that SOB.
I was gonna say, you guys have had your run-ins recently, whether it was in the short track series or also, I believe you guys may have had a little contact here in the stock car series, if I remember right. Going into Nashville. Oh, I take that back. When he was coming up and approaching on fresh tires, you gave him a lot of room, was very respectful. Was that hard for you?
No, he's, all jokes aside, me and Agnell are pretty tight. He's my teammate. I'd do anything for those guys. But I tell you what, the deal at Five Flags was just a racing deal. I'm coming down and he's on the gas and got me in the middle of the bumper. And the other deal was an Echo deal. So I drove back up through there, no harm, no foul. But yeah, I'm gonna have to take it to him on Friday, I guess, huh?
Yeah, you are. It's going to be a fun one to watch for sure. Quick shout outs and anybody you want to thank after this?
Yeah, I got to thank all you guys for putting this on, man. This is every week we got somewhere to race and we have got a lot of fun. And we got guys, the best thing about this league is 1, the competition, and 2, we have guys that we can race clean every week. No BS, no crybabies, no nothing. And it's policed so well. Every racing and everybody gets along, and that is something that I wish was more on iRacing. I wish more guys raced with respect and cared about each other and helped each other like this whole crew does. So I'd like to thank you guys for that. You guys police this so well. You guys do it, all the blood, sweat, and tears you guys put into this. We love it, man.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, for running with us week in, week out, even though you may not know the schedule, the points position, or maybe what car or what track we're going to be at. We appreciate you greatly. We really do.
Of course, tell Agno I'm coming for him.
Oh, we can't wait to watch that. That's going to be fireworks day. It's going to be broadcasted here Friday night, 9 Eastern.
Come and get it, boys. We'll do it Friday night.
On eSPEED Racing. So we will let you go, Chris. Again, congrats on a strong performance this season, and we'll see you very soon.
Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you for all you do. We appreciate it, man.
Hey, you're very welcome. All right, Lawrence. Well, we're going to wrap up with you. Any final thoughts or anything on the night or the season?
I tell you what, man, I had a blast both in the car all season long. Didn't have all the finishes I necessarily wanted in the stock car series, but we finally got that elusive oval series win in the contender series after I won Daytona. You said it was my first DSS win, which I remembered was wrong. I did win one GT3 race in this league.
Doesn't count.
Okay, so that's
no,
fine.
I'm kidding.
That's my first
kidding.
win. But yeah, I've had a wonderful season. Just through the grapevine, the ideas that we've put out in our little drivers council chat we have there of the special events in the shoulder season here, I look way forward to. Thank you so much for having me up here tonight. I had a blast. I'd be more than happy to skip NIS on Friday night and come join you in the booth for a little super late model racing on a Friday night from the Nashville Fairgrounds if you'll have me. But yeah, man, I had a blast up here. You do such a wonderful job, both administering the league, like Chris said, and up here in the booth. And we could all take a page out of your book on how to run a league. I'm involved with a lot of leagues and have been, and none better run than the eSRL. I look forward to every Tuesday, Sunday, and Friday night out here. So I thank you so much, Rocky, for having me, and I had a blast up here tonight.
Hey, well, thank you very much for, sharing the booth with me here tonight for the finale. We'll take a look at Friday and the schedule and everything like that, but we could probably make that happen. So, again, thank you for racing with us, helping out as much as you do, Lawrence, and all that good stuff. So, we'll let you go and have a wonderful night.
You too, buddy. Appreciate you.
No problem. All right, well, we will wrap it up there. Thank you all for following. Appreciate all of that. Please check us out some more. We're fantastic league, great community, and everything like that. I'll let those guys' words speak for themselves. We got some great stuff on Twitch and YouTube. Check out the YouTube setup tutorials. We're putting out some great stuff for the C Open trucks. So if that is your bag, we'll try to expand that and include some more cars and all that good stuff. Help everybody out. On top of that, come check us out as far as the league. We are at espeedsport.com. You can find race schedules, announcements, all that good stuff. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Definitely like, subscribe, all the good stuff on YouTube and Twitch. Anything that we get from that goes back into the league and possibly the pockets of our drivers and stuff. So we try to do this for the community and everything like that, and appreciate every one of you. It's been a great season. Like I said, the Stock Car Series will be back in July. We're looking at starting our a couple new series here for May and June, something a little off the wall as we take a bit of a breather and regroup and all that good stuff. But on that note, we're going to call it a night. See you next time.